Okay, good afternoon, everybody. It's July the 14th, 2011, and welcome back to Bill Bing's Trumpet Talk. So I've taken a few days off. I had a great time last night playing trios with some friends, and that was wonderful. It sort of reminded me how wonderful it is to get together and just play small ensemble, trumpet trios, duets, quartets, and how good it is for the reading and the chops, and just to hang out. It was a lot of fun. So I recommend you call up your friends today and arrange a trumpet trio or duet or whatever. But in any case, today, let's talk about high notes. And I've never been what I would consider a great high note player. I was good enough to play first trumpet in the orchestra, jazz band at University of Michigan and at USC. But when I got into the real world, I realized that there were people there that really were much better at it than I am. You listen to Wayne Bergeron here in Los Angeles, and it's pretty clear that there's a reason he's doing so well, because he has a great upper register. I know people that knew him in high school, and they said even in high school he had a great upper register. And he's just further developed it to an amazing level. But in any case, I'm going to try to impart upon you what knowledge I do have of the upper register. I have some students who are much better in the upper register than I am. I've always had a functional level of going up to about an E flat or an F, and that was what I'd say good enough to get the job done at the levels that I was playing at the universities and whatnot. But when you get into the real world, you've got to be able to play F's on a pretty consistent basis if you want to play lead trumpet. And nowadays, to get anybody's attention, you really have to be able to go up to a double C. And I've been watching videos on the YouTube, and there's some wonderful people talking about how to play high notes on YouTube that can demonstrate much better than I can. But I will say this about the upper register, and also tied to endurance. I think endurance and upper register are not necessarily directly related, in that if you just practice for endurance alone, you'll get better at the upper register. If you just practice for the upper register, you'll get better at endurance as well. I think you have to do both. And so with that in mind, I've talked about endurance in the past, and just a quick reminder of how important it is to practice endurance and different approaches there are to endurance. And as far as upper register is concerned, one of the important things I want to relate to you and remind you is my saying that all's work from a position of strength into an area of weakness. That is to say, start in a register that you're comfortable, you know your chops are good, and work into an area that is not as comfortable, but where you can still maintain the kind of embouchure that you're looking for. The other thing is airspeed. The airspeed is very important, and that relates to the using the syllables ta and ti, which Claude Gordon was so popular, so emphatic about all his exercises. He'd stamp on the pages, follow the tongue, which meant ta, ti, and after a while I got to think I had a little video camera in my mouth. I could visualize what was going on in the mouth so easily. So those are a couple of things that are really important to think ta, ti as you go in the upper register. From what I read, Maurice Andre once saw a fluoroscope, I think, of his tongue, and he was quite surprised to see how the tongue level changed as he went into the upper register. The thing that I watch out for when I go into the upper register is to make sure that I don't use too much T. I only use the amount of T necessary to get the note. That is, I don't want the note to get too bright. If I'm playing a third space C and I use too much T, it could go sharp. Excuse me. The note could go sharp, as you just heard, and it also thins out the sound. So only use the amount of T that's necessary to get the note. As you play higher, that was a little flat, so maybe I need to use a little bit more T as I go into the upper register. So those are we'll start talking about upper register, but those are some of the things to talk about. Remember the Caruso 6 notes? etc. And Caruso, it's my understanding, he would have you keep the setting for the 6 notes. And even, but I also, when I studied with Harry Kim, he said that that was variable depending on the needs of the student. You could also take the mouthpiece off between the setting, the notes. And also the seconds of Caruso. So study the Caruso also. Jimmy Stamp playing low to high is also good. And you'll find all these wonderful people on the internet that are talking more specifically about these kinds of exercises than what I'm going into right now. But this is just a primer on how to get you started thinking perhaps a little bit differently about the upper register. And I'm already over time. I don't like to have these last more than 5 minutes. But I hope you got some good information today. And if I have time, I'll tack on another upper register video before too long. Okay, so have fun practicing the trumpet. Enjoy the upper register, and it doesn't have to be painful. You see people playing that are awesome and not working that hard, and so it is possible. And then there's the rest of us mortals who, when we want to play in the upper register, it's a very physical situation. No matter who you are, I think it's really, you have to use, you can't be wimpy about the upper register. You have to go for it. So that's enough for today. Thanks for listening, and keep blowing. Bye-bye.